Welcome to session number 3 of the Golf Champion Mentoring Program. This program is setting the student up for success. We want the protege to feel they know the fundamentals required to make the full golf swing, but first off they need to know the fundamentals to start. We're going to start with the grip. Before we get started, we're going to do some simple terminology. We don't do right and left. I'm a left-handed golfer, so the target side, we're hitting the ball that direction. This becomes the target side. This becomes the trail side or the back side. This is the top hand, which is closest to the target, and the bottom hand. And as you can see, the top and bottom hand are exactly what they say they are. So we're going to start off with the first fundamental, is the grip. The grip starts 2 to 3 fingers, and sometimes 4 if it's a weaker lady, senior, or beginner. We want to get the golf club farther down in their hands, okay? And we put it perpendicular to the ground on purpose because it goes through the fingers. If the golf club's in the fingers, it can meet full potential energy. If it's in the palm, it's going to move with a much slower, and it won't be perpendicular to the ground. So that's why we put it out here. It's very easy to see that it's perpendicular to the ground, and at this point, it's in the fingers. This thumb is up, okay? Now we're ready to place the second hand on. The second hand slides down so there's no spaces. All right, at this point you can interlock, or you can overlap, or you can have all 10 fingers on. All right, I'm going to move back down to my 2-finger spot where I belong as an instructor, and I overlap. All right, then when I put the golf club down in front of me, I'll see we have 2 of these, and they should point to the trail side of your chin. They should be back here some direction. Okay, we call that a strong grip. If it's natural for the protege to have the hands over this direction, we want to work that out early and get those hands pointed back here in a strong position. The most important thing that you'll learn about the grip is quite simply that the tension in the golf swing, no matter where it is, does not increase. So we want to keep that tension fairly consistent and not too tight. That's another thing that eliminates speed, which we need to hit the golf ball of any distance. Next fundamental is the stance. And the stance is basically the width of our feet and the position of our feet. The stance becomes just basically as wide as our shoulders are. If we get too wide, we're unable to turn effectively. If we're too narrow, we're going to lose our balance when we swing the golf ball. Okay, so we want to find an athletic position. The second part of the stance is where the weight is distributed. You don't want the weight on the toes like in most sports. You're shooting a foul shot in basketball, you're going to be up on your toes. If you're playing shortstop, you're anticipating going toward the target. Our target's out that direction. So we want to be balanced so that we can finish at that direction and that target. So that's one thing that separates golf from most other athletic movements. So just to review, the weight is in the insteps of our feet. It doesn't go out this way, doesn't go out this way, and it's not that way, and it's not back. So we don't go outside our shoelaces at any time. It's always centered around our shoelaces until we finish the golf swing. We'll get into that. The next step is called posture. Posture is a very, very key in the golf swing to maintain the posture. And we try to get an athletic position where once we establish our grip, go back to our grip, top hand, bottom hand slides on, okay? Then we drop the golf club into place, bending at our belt buckle. Our back should remain fairly straight. So if I do it from this angle, you're going to see that my posture, my back is fairly straight, but my arms hang down. And by the club being in the right position, I'm not going to get the golf club, I'm not going to reach for it and put the weight on my toes, and I'm not going to have it too close to me and have my toes off the ground. So that's the correct posture. One of the big keys in posture is that your chin is up. Most golfers are going to be told to keep their head down. In fact, you need your head up so that your chin is not in the road of your shoulder turn. And we'll get to that in the next session when we actually talk about the golf swing. So far we've talked about the grip, the stance, and the posture. The next step is the alignment. And the alignment, we're going to look down down the fairway to create a target. So we're going to move the camera back here. Alignment is the concept of how you actually aim the golf ball. Right here we have parallel lines. Parallel lines are the simple explanation of how we aim. This line is called the body line, and this is the target line. And what we want is the body line to always be parallel to the target line. You can see off in the distance there, quite a ways off, there's a sand trap up beside the green. We're going to hit just slightly left of that sand trap. So the body is just at the right side of the sand trap, but the actual golf club face and ball is going to be aimed just left of that. And that's how we make alignment. It's always parallel lines, they never meet. So if my body turns to the left, the ball's going to go to the left. If my body turns to the right, the ball will always go to the right. So that's one thing that we can get wrong very easily. When we have our correct posture, just going back to posture, we want all these lines in our body to be going the same direction, which is parallel to the ball. All right. Last fundamental is back here to our basics. We established our alignment. We have grip, stance, alignment, posture, and the last one is ball position. Ball position is very simple. It just means the position of where the golf ball sits between the feet. Okay, we're lined up, and we talked about the target line and the body line. Now, how far forward is the ball and how far backwards? So in the middle of our stance, most good players are there, but with most golf clubs. And as the golf clubs get longer, it moves forward and forward until it's right off the front foot, like as if we were teeing it up with a driver. So the shorter club here is my 7-iron, and my hand position is slightly ahead. Ball position is just slightly ahead of ahead of the center of my feet. My driver moves all the way up here to the front, but my hand position stays in the exact same position as it was for the 7-iron. So you can see that the golf ball is farther from me and more forward towards the target. And that's what we do incrementally as the golf clubs get longer. So if I had a 6-iron, the ball would be here, 5-iron, 4-iron, hybrid, 3-wood, eventually all the way up to driver. So that's the explanation of the ball position. In summary, we have your grip. Most important thing to remember, the hands aren't too tight, restricting the speed of the golf club traveling. Then we have the stance, that we center the weight between our feet and not on the toes or the heels, and we don't allow it to get side to side. We keep it on the shoelaces. Then our posture, we bend at the belt buckle. Our knees are slightly flexed. They're not bent, it's just slightly flexed, and our back remains constantly in place with our arms hanging straight down and our chin up. All right. Then we had alignment, which is the simple relationship of parallel lines between the body and the target line, the intended line of the golf ball. And lastly, the ball position that starts just slightly forward of center with the hands ahead to a position where the driver is ahead with the hands slightly behind. So the hand position doesn't change much, but the ball position moves forward and the golf club gets longer.